It's because the way we started in this country, we started a lot of black people, well, all black people who were originally here started off as slaves in this country. So they feel like since you came from nothing, you can't make nothing. But the crazy thing about just black people in general, we make something out of nothing. Just like soul food. If you think about soul food, soul food was made out of like the scrap they gave the slaves, and they turned that into like some fire mill. So that's just really where it came from.
Let's walk cleverly on the beat.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the African Millennials.
Yay!
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
All right, good. Jonathan, can you read for us, please?
Yes, absolutely. All right, dear AMs, there's a popular rhetoric that black people have never invented anything.
What?
Appalled, right?
That's actually rubbish.
Yeah. Can you please discuss a bunch of black inventors? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is going to be an intellectual episode. So, so obviously a lot of people do not know a lot of the things that we use, just like a light, was invented by black people. So we will have pictures come up, and when your picture comes up of your inventor, we're gonna school the people. All right?
Yes.
Amen.
Awesome.
Education time.
Yeah. I should have brought my
Take
glasses.
notes.
Right.
So it is my turn.
It's my turn.
I believe it is my turn. Thank you. I had Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan is, most popularly known for inventing the traffic signal. So when you're about to run that red light, you got to understand that brother right there is the one who invented the traffic signal. Also, fun fact about him, he was the first African American in Cleveland to own an automobile.
Oh, wow.
And he invented the traffic signal because he witnessed an accident at an intersection that didn't have a traffic signal.
Wow. And
So he's the reason we're getting all these tickets.
That's what y'all think about.
He didn't invent the red light camera now because that's sound like the white man invention, not the black man. And just another fact about him as well. He invented. So you see the smoke hoods that the firefighters wear. He invented that as well. So it basically it uses a wet sponge to filter out all the smoke that may come in for them. So
and that's so different from the traffic light. That's awesome.
and he had so many different. He's African American, black man.
No, like
He was just, he was one of those people that he just knew how to fix things. Like he's just one of those people that was a handyman. It also the smoke hood also provides the user, easy access to perform emergency respiration. So you want to do that CPR is good. They also used it in World War II as well. He didn't get a lot of credit for it because obviously in the times, he was a black man, so white people. He used to disguise himself as a white man with his voice when he would make when he would market his inventions.
it's crazy.
Just to
Still
get
do that today.
code switch. So
Garrett Morgan, I love that, he was so innovative in the sense that he didn't see a problem as a challenge or as a stopping or as a, oh my God, now we all gonna die on this road. People just killing each other and driving. He was like, you know what? The entrepreneur in me will be like, how can I prevent this? How can I find a solution? And he went ahead, he did it relentlessly in a time when clearly anybody could have taken his inventions, and he's smart. He was like, look, y'all not gonna pay me, I'm gonna speak like a white man. Get this
coins. All right, next up.
Hey, that's my guy over there.
Yeah.
All right. His name is Lonnie Johnson.
Lonnie?
All right,
Lonnie
so
Johnson?
Okay.
he's responsible for the Super Soaker. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be shooting it for you.
What's a Super Soaker?
Huh?
What's a super
Oh, it's
soaker?
like a big.
Y'all don't have it back in Kenya?
Oh, I got it. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm asking.
What?
She did
What
not have a childhood at all.
Let me.
Wait, do you really not?
Wait. I gotta tell you how our childhood was
In
like in
defense,
America. It's a big
I was
ass.
planting grass.
See, a super soaker would have helped you with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would have been water.
You know, like baby. But it's
No, I'm playing.
What?
You are not
Super
planting
soaker.
grass.
super soaker.
Is it super or super?
God, you finished spelling
Super, like SUPER SOAKER.
Oh, you know
Yes.
what I thought you're saying?
What?
Super soccer, like SOCER, CCER.
Oh, soccer.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was like, what are you
Soaker.
talking
It's a
about?
water gun.
A
Yeah,
water gun.
a big, like the
Just
one of them
said
big,
a
the
water
big one.
gun.
No, but that's his invention,
Specific?
the super
Okay,
soaker.
okay.
Just call it a water gun. We had water guns in Africa. You know, we were not in like some forest in a cave. We had water guns. I didn't know it was called a super soaker. I even thought it was football.
It's really, honestly, it was like out of the blue. It was just something for kids to have fun with. Already there were water guns, you feel me? There were the water guns.
Like the mini-me's?
Yeah, the little tiny ones. But those were kind of hazardous because they do kind of look like real guns. So the Super Soaker was like, he made it colorful. He added like different colors. He made it look kid friendly.
Right.
So,
you
you know.
had that neon green
Yep.
with that neon orange.
Yep.
That big old
backpack.
Oh,
You had money.
Oh, so you were ready.
I didn't even know about that.
I had to get the
I've
ones from the
never seen
99
them
cent
at the
store.
No, because when you're in a water gun fights, like you don't want to run
yeah,
out
yeah.
the water and refill the water.
Bring
You
it
just
out.
like, yeah, you
So
just
it had a
have
tank. It
everything.
had like a
cheating.
tank.
It was a
Like,
two.
I mean,
It was a
I used to have to run to the hose to like.
Oh, nah, but they.
Yo, I don't currently have a super soaker, but growing up, I had pretty much every super soaker that there was. My favorite one was the one with the backpack, because you know when you were in the water fights, you had to come ready. You know, you couldn't be running back and forth to the hose to get more water. So I always came ready with like 2 or 3.
Oh, nah, but they had a pouch.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
put it in the pouch, start
Yeah,
shooting,
and then
whatever,
you
get
have
the
to
people
go and
wet.
fill it up.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah,
like.
we had water guns in Kenya, okay?
No, but
you have the super soakers. You have this man over there.
No.
But the sad thing about it was that I don't know if you know Hasbro, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hasbro. He was working for them, and what happened was they weren't paying him well enough, but they were making so much money off the Super Soaker, so they weren't like giving him his dues. So he had to file a lawsuit, which he won. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like, you know, give credit where it's due, but that's not what was happening for him. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, Madam CJ.
I believe that's me again, ladies. Yes, it is my turn to enlighten the people then. So, Madam CJ Walker was definitely, you know, ahead of her time in my opinion. I believe that, you know, she's very influential. She was the first self-made millionaire. She just so happened to be a black woman.
Black woman, let's get it.
Black woman, you know. She set the tone
Magic.
for, you know, black entrepreneurship, especially with women, because we know during that time, yes, it was hard to be black, but it's even harder being a black woman during that time. And she was around in the late 1800s into the early 1900s. So that's a little bit after Reconstruction and into the Jim Crow era. So for her to really like become successful like that was really, really like amazing. And it wasn't an easy road for her. You know, she married a couple of times, and when in her last situation, she was being abused by her brother-in-law. So she had to,
That's messed up.
her brother-in-law, yeah. So she had to escape that. She took her daughter and ended up going to St. Louis to, you know, try to expand her business. She worked as a laundress, actually. She worked in a laundromat where she was earning barely $1 a day, but she used the money that she saved up to send her daughter to school. Eventually, she remarried again to an advertiser. That's when she changed her name to Madam CJ Walker. Then she ended up moving to Colorado when she was 37, and that's when she really like blew up with her hair care products. She actually had like severe dandruff, and she was balding too because number one, they had, you know, inadequate plumbing system, so she wasn't really, not only her, but people in that time weren't really showering a lot. So it caused a lot of dandruff. So she found a way to make hair products and, you know, get healthy hair. And then after that, she went door to door to sell her products. She had women, start their own businesses with these hair products, and eventually,
first, like Avon.
Yeah.
basically, yeah, basically the first Avon. And
Did she invent the perm?
no, she didn't invent the perm. It was that was around for hundreds of years, but she just had like different products used to straighten hair, make hair healthier, make hair grow after having all these issues. And a lot of women today have hair issues as well. But there's a lot of products made by Black women. Shout out to our Black women, our Black hair care products.
We love you.
And because of her, she was able to find a way to allow women to not only own their own businesses, but learn how to take care of their hair as well, because that wasn't being taught.
What she did was so revolutionary, because during slavery, a lot of people forget that Africans, when they were taken from Africa to the Americas, they did not have anything to help them with their hair. Something as simple as a comb. They had to use forks. And there was a documentary I read where just to get moisture in their hair, they had to use the grease, like the automobile, not automobile grease, but like grease for like the industrial machines and stuff, just on their hair, just so that it could get moisture and oil. And then imagine you're in the sun, you're in the heat, and so just imagine. So what she did was very revolutionary, because for hundreds of years, Black people did not really have anything to use that was tailor-made for their hair. So
we were using products that we were actually eating, like coconut oil.
Yeah.
We were using coconut oil in our hair. But that started as a cooking product, though. We were cooking with that. And the same thing with shea butter. A lot of people don't know that shea butter is edible. It started off...
Really? I have some in my house.
She said
I can eat it. No. That's the process for him. Not the... Relax.
No, but shea butter, they would take it and they would, that would be the oil, or like a butter. Wow. It melts down. It melts just like coconut oil. Coconut oil melts clear, but shea butter... It melts like a yellowish color, and they used to cook with that. Yeah. So that even shows how.
Who's this?
This is mine.
Educate us.
All right, so I'm going to educate y'all. This is Miss Marie Van Britton Brown. Right here.
Britton Brown.
That sounds fancy. I'm gonna kick off the whole
government. So she is actually from Jamaica, Queens.
Oh,
yes. And the reason why I picked her and also my other inventor, I wanted to, just like you were saying, basically show that Black women are so intelligent, and it's so unfortunate that they are basically on the bottom of the totem pole of respected individuals. And that's why I wanted to showcase a Black woman, and especially with what she did, she kind of, she was like the epitome, her and her husband, of Black love, because her and her husband created the surveillance camera.
Freak.
Yeah, okay. We're not going to sexualize initially.
That's not like she wanted to catch him cheating.
Right. We're not going to sexualize our invention. That's what we're not going to do.
Guys, Black love.
Black love, right?
Let's go back to the Black love. Yeah, so, thank you. They lived in Jamaica, Queens, and it was a very high crime rated neighborhood. So she didn't feel comfortable going to the door, because her husband was working as an electronic technician, and she didn't feel comfortable going to the door and opening it without knowing who it was. The residents would call the police if something happens, and the police took forever to come. And especially in those neighborhoods, which still happens today.
Yes.
So I salute her and her husband for creating, they literally had 4 holes and created a camera that can go up to each hole, and you'll see exactly who's at the door, then created the monitors to go into different rooms. And, it started off as a domestic thing, but now it's used all over in businesses.
Even by the government as well. It's so interesting that, we said it in the beginning though, but these everyday items, right? We Black people invented these things, and it's just it started from such a humble beginning to Black people. This Black love, man. We need to start bringing it more, man. More Black love is needed.
Black businesses.
That's a big one.
And I feel like it speaks so much to our innovation. We don't let things stop us, or like, oh man, I have this
Where
problem.
did it come from? Why do people?
It's
feel
because the way
why?
we started in this country, the way we started a lot of black people, well, all black people who were originally here started off as slaves in this country. So they feel like since you came from nothing, you can't make nothing. But the crazy thing about just black people in general, we make something out of nothing. Just like soul food. If you think about soul food, soul food was made out of like the scrap they gave the slaves, and they turned that into like some fire mill. So that's just really where it came
I feel
from.
like they've also like suppressed our history.
Most definitely.
To make
It's also
us
something they don't teach in school.
less confident.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't teach us these things, especially when it comes to like black inventors and things that they've done for the community. Our generation growing up, they don't have anybody telling them that, like, look, this black person invented this, invented that, because it gives us too much power. So growing up, my father always referenced history as his story. And that it's told in a very specific viewpoint. And I always found it interesting, especially after today's conversation, that a lot of the textbook things that we learn about growing up is very whitewashed. You know, they don't tell us about the actual African inventors that, you know, have made changes in our everyday life. And a lot of the things that we use to this day have been created by black people. They only have their 2 or 3, you know, people that they mention, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, but they really don't go into actual inventions and what our culture has done for the world.
Yeah, they never taught us the good. They put so much light on slavery and how we were
oppressed.
It almost seems like
they glorified it.
Not only glorified it, but it's almost like they shoved that in our mind so much as a child that we grow up thinking we can't really do anything like create or invent something. You know, it's almost
That's
like
only history. That's basically the only history they teach.
that's all I've known.
And we don't learn. And it's sad though, because they don't have like African American studies courses in middle school, elementary.
No.
Like you have to wait to
college.
like something as simple as incarceration. Why do we get incarcerated at higher levels than other people? They don't teach us that until college. But meanwhile, kids are getting in trouble and going to jail at such young ages. We're not educated on these things. And you made a very good point about, you know, our history being suppressed or only, you know, equated to just slavery and then Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and that's it. It's not saying that, you know, they didn't contribute, but there's more to black history than just those two people. I feel like the education of inventors and accomplishments of black creatives, black inventors should be taught from an early age, because it gives children a sense of pride. You know, we don't want to learn that our history is only slavery and only Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, and then it came to, you know, present day. We should know about our black inventors. We should know about the people who are responsible for the everyday items that we have.
But it even goes further back than that. Like it would be lovely to know about, you know, where we actually came from in terms of our African roots as well. That's something that's totally looked over as well. It's important to discuss the innovators within our community because we need to know, with that idea and notion or that fact that there are innovators and inventors within our community, it pushes us to want to excel even further and do even more and be even better than we were previously thought to be capable of. So telling these stories and giving these people the acclaim that they deserve is absolutely fundamental and important to the progression of our community.
Absolutely.
Ooh, now that's me.
Okay.
She got the hair to match the logo. I see you.
So it's M-Pesa, and Pesa in Swahili means money, and M means pretty much mobile money, so mobile banking.
Cash.
Okay. I definitely use that.
They were on that.
So, in 2000,
Let me tell you.
so in 2007,
Is this a Kenyan person?
yes, it's a
Okay.
Kenyan. Okay, so it's a Kenyan product.
Oh.
Why I don't want to highlight the person who takes credit. The person who takes credit for this invention is the CEO of the company, who's called Michael Joseph. He's an American-born South African. No, he's a American. So he's American, but he was born in South Africa, right? However, the technology was by a black workforce, so that's why I'm gonna highlight the product and the country it came from.
Okay.
So M-Pesa. So in 2007, Safaricom, which is kind of like our T-Mobile, launched M-Pesa, which is a service where your mobile phone is a bank. So your SIM card acts like your account. As your bank account, right? So you can store money in your mobile phone and send it to people and pay bills. Now, the need for this was that the banking system was not touching 70% of the population, which were the informal sector. So like your farmers, your hawkers, they're operating in cash and they just use mattresses, and then a fire happens, boom, your money is gone. You know, they weren't like the securities. So we were like, instead of trying to force people to put money in the bank because people did not trust the banks, why? And everybody had a mobile phone, whether an M-Pesa doesn't need technology, even the most basic, you remember Nokia 3310? Yes, you can use that on it. So it started mobile banking. Now the history of mobile banking, so this particular type of mobile banking enabled the blueprint for companies like PayPal and Cash App, where you can store your money in the app, even though it's temporarily, and then you can integrate it with the bank account.
How did the money get from hard?
So they have like little kiosks. So it's also a way in which people can be entrepreneurs. So you can own an M-Pesa shop, and what happens is people can drop the money in there, and then you put the money in their phone, and then like it's kind of like little bank kiosks.
But you would trust somebody with a kiosk?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like,
I don't know if I would trust somebody with a kiosk as opposed to a bank.
I mean, when it first
No,
started.
so you're thinking American. I need you to bring yourself to like a
My
farmer,
bad.
like a hardcore. Like you need to bring yourself to people who had like, these are how many years of the colonialism. These are people who still are mistrusting of like the government and everything. However, they go to the kiosk, they see the kiosk man every day. They buy bread from them. They buy milk from them.
It's kind of like
So,
recharging your phone with
like
minutes,
recharging,
right?
yeah, with minutes.
but it's money.
But it's money, yeah. So it's money. And so the difference from what was mobile banking that was created in the 1990s by a Dutch bank, it was that mobile banking then was you could use your phone to do bank transfers. So like you get SMS alerts if you need to, for instance, pay a bill with your phone. That was the mobile banking. Now, when M-Pesa came, it created the technology where you can store money in any of these technological spaces. So be it a SIM card, be it an app, so it transformed the game. And now PayPal started doing like emails and stuff like that.
The person who like came up with it, that you said that person was that's the South African?
No, it's a black man who doesn't who's not given credit because the CEO of the company took the credit.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Talking about credits, this is gonna be my guy.
He's got a cool mustache.
You know, I had to go with his mustache. You know,
Why you didn't do that to
our
yours?
brothers. You know,
Brothers and beards.
So this is George Washington Carver. Everyone probably knows him for creating peanut butter and a lot of different products with peanut butter. And one of the reasons why I actually chose this guy is because he was super spiritual. The funny thing is he never did any trademarks, and he believed all of his all of his gifts were all of his things that he invented were gifts from God. And his whole thing was inspiring Black people and farmers at the time to really take that to the next level with their different products. So everything from peanut butter to cotton. He had almost 40 different inventions, which I thought was pretty amazing.
Wow.
And none of those he actually got credit for because he didn't trademark it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotta have your business right, man.
Well, I know at that
The thing
time.
is,
No, I'm just saying, like, for now, like,
For now, yeah,
but back then
nobody
it's
gets
sad.
credit.
Right.
But at the end of the
That's
day, I
crazy.
think it's important that it's still going off of passion as opposed to just like, okay, let me do it for the
Doing
business
it for
side of
that.
it, you know? So yeah, just George Washington.
So he sounds like the way you made it sound was like he didn't really care about whether he got credit or not.
It wasn't about credit for him. Honestly, it was
But
about
he
him
does get
helping
the
the
credit.
community, you know?
Oh, okay.
And
So
at
to
that
do
time,
40 and not really
and
get
not get credit for it.
right.
But,
So
but he does get the credit.
he gets the
though.
credit, but he didn't trademark it. So
Yeah.
it's like,
You
at
gotta
the end of the day,
get
somebody
it.
can go
See
back
that,
the money
and
And he's not
trademark
getting
it.
royalties. His
Right.
family's not getting royalties.
Right.
Which is
Like,
crazy now
That's-
that I think
that's
about it.
insane.
Damn.
Yeah, he could imagine the amount of bread he would be getting
It's
right now.
because
Peanut
peanut butter
butter.
is a
Yeah, Peanut butter.
Jif, Skippy.
It would be that long money. Long money. I would say that, you know, he had great intentions. I don't think he saw the potential of his products. And also just, I don't think he also saw the need for generational wealth, you know, and maybe it could be the time that he was in, you know, he couldn't, maybe there was no he couldn't see the possibility of some of these things that we're talking about now. So
I don't think it was that he didn't see the possibilities. I just feel like he wasn't doing it for that. He was doing it. Yeah, he wasn't focusing on it, and it was like this thing that I have. It's for everybody to use.
Yeah, I mean, but did he know about trademarking? Did he know?
Well, I think that's the other thing is we're keeping the time period too.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if he was knowledgeable on that. And in that time, they probably wouldn't have let them or even trademark anything.
With peanut butter is very common with allergies and related to like death. Now that makes me think of when did this peanut allergy begin? Because if he's the one that started, you know,
conspiracy.
So I'm not saying that.
So what you're saying is
he was trying to cause these peanut-related deaths. However, it makes me wonder, like,
where did it come from?
Was this not tested properly? Did he not? Because they're not in a time where they have the science to do it.
No, people are allergic to peanuts, like the natural grown peanuts.
That's not his fault.
No, I'm not saying it's his fault, but you're saying that it's not just natural. Anything with peanuts, some people, their allergies are so bad that the smell of peanuts gives them a reaction, like an anaphylactic shock or something.
But you can't say that because like with anything else like coconut or something like that, if it's a natural thing.
But if he's the one that created peanut butter, he started all of it.
He's not God.
And I didn't mean to say that he invented peanuts. I just felt like peanut butter made peanuts popular, and a lot of people are dying from peanut allergies.
God created peanuts. God created peanuts.
You gonna have the Carver family come after you now. Don't let them carve you up now.
Sometimes, let me tell you, Zenobia, sometimes our brain is somewhere else. I don't know whether it's on Ghana Jollof, whether it's on Men, I don't know. But nobody said the guy created peanuts. It's peanut butter. That's the product that comes from peanuts. So, we'll pray for her. We'll actually pray for her because her life shambles.
The process of creating peanut butter.
It's okay.
She's sweating.
Carry on.
He created peanuts?
I'm just saying he made peanut butter popular and it killed a lot of people. Let's
Time out.
To be clear, God created the peanut. It came from the earth. We planted the seed and it grew back. We crack it open, we eat it. In my defense, I don't even eat peanut butter. I eat almond butter. Thank you.
Carver family. That doesn't. Hold on, wait. We gotta do the PSA. That doesn't reflect the views of all the AMs, please. Thank you. Just one. Zenobia.
At love.zenobia.
All right.
Almond butter
So
anyway.
this was also me.
What?
Okay.
All
right. So everybody knows this. Black Lives Matter. For us, by us. What is that, right? FUBU. This is the creation of this amazing guy right here. This is Damon John, and actually he's one of my biggest mentors in the sense of I love his creativity and he always helps black businesses. But the funny story about this guy is he's had his first job since he was 10 years old. 10 years, he was his first when he was 10, he basically started handing out flyers, getting $1 an hour. And he decided to create this clothing line because he saw so many people like wearing clothes that wasn't created by our culture. And so he came up with the term for us, by us, FUBU. And he started in his mom's house, started making like just sewing hats. He literally started selling $800 a day in just hats, and then started in t-shirts. His mom was like super inspired by what he was doing, and she put up her house, mortgaged the house for $100,000. Supported him like to the end for a real one, right? And now FUBU is one of the first clothing lines that really took the black community, both not only in like social media and like celebrities, but really like built our brand of black culture and clothing.
Also internationally too.
Coogee was a brand association. He wasn't the founder of Coogee. He helped them with like the African market. Coogee was already
like
a brand. It was a collab.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So I mean, you know, even now, like he has Shark Tank, which you know I watch all the time. He's one of the producers. He's one of the producers. And I watch the show all the time because it gives me so much advice on just how to pitch. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Also, other things of the business of just like, you know, how much is it worth and, you know, how do I resell and things like that.
And what investors are looking for.
I think with the whole FUBU thing, it's very like amazing because even in these current times now, we see how all these luxury brands, like, you know, how they're trying to profit off, you know, black outrage.
Culture.
And it's just like,
Outrage
we have so much talent in our community that will just like, you know, have somebody like, you know what, I want to make this and I want to make it for my people and I'm going to make it so my people can support me and buy our clothes. Like we have so many black designers now. We have some on set right now. You know? I mean, I'm wearing some of, you know, some black designers. It's just sweet on the pants, you know. So I think you know. Okay. So it's just so amazing how, you know, black people can really, we are the, I always say we are the culture. Whether it's clothes, whether it's music, whether it's food. And it's just so amazing that these people inspire us to, you know, go for greatness, not to just settle for what we have. You know?
And also like for someone like Damien, like doing it early, like before this all support black businesses, like he was doing it from the jump. And I also feel like he was one of those people that brought like black fashion to mainstream because before him, like we were all wearing the Nikes, we were all doing like, we were doing like things that everybody else was doing, but when FUBU came out, like FUBU, like people really came out and supported FUBU, and like the hip, especially the hip hop culture, and like although like FUBU is not as big in the United States as it was, like go to Japan, go to a lot of these internet, they still wearing it because
the big jackets, right?
Yeah, like
rolled up and all that.
Because FUBU represents hip hop, it represents the culture, and like other people like. We probably forgot about it, but other cultures embrace that culture and like they wear FUBU. They still wear a lot of these things.
Embrace FUBU anymore.
I'll tell you why.
I think it's the time.
It's a timepiece.
I feel like the hip hop community also kind of contributed to that too.
For sure.
Yeah, because the thing about it, a lot of artists is like they'll have this thing where they'll talk down on a brand. Like they'll just shoot at that brand. Like let's say maybe we were over wearing FUBU. Maybe they felt like we were over wearing it.
I think it's because it was affordable. I think it was because it was affordable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
people,
a lot,
like I said, celebrities talk down on it as if it was trash. All right, enough of this.
Right,
and that.
like because now everybody wants to support luxury, luxury brands.
Like Champion was a brand that used to be hard back in the day, and then like disappeared, and now
it's bad. They're coming back.
It's more expensive. It might have its moment in the future sometime.
But those aren't the black. I do wish that like some of the black, you know, old school black owned, like Sean John and those would come back.
But they also gotta keep it on.
House of Darion.
Yeah.
See, but the thing is, y'all they gonna have to make it, you know, today. Like, you know, you can't have like updated jeans with the boots with the fur. You know what I mean?
The issue with the black clothing is that besides, you know, Damien, right? When we had Sean John, that was P. Diddy. When we had Apple Bottoms and Fat Farm, Apple Bottom was by Nelly, wasn't it?
No, Apple
Oh yeah, Rockaware. We had Rockaware.
Yeah, but these were by who were these? But these were by black entertainers. These were by entertainers that didn't have a passion for fashion. It was just they had the money to do it and they had the platform. And I think that's why they didn't survive is because that wasn't their passion. But this was his passion, and it kind of sucks to see that. It hasn't been consistent.
I feel like FUBU is still in Kenya. Like I need to think about it a little bit more. About
Shout out to my dad for getting me FUBU though in the 7th grade.
Let's walk clarity on the beat.